Bridges in Western New York in need of some serious repair. Now, some of these spans are rusted and crumbling. Investigative reporter Steve Brown has been taking a closer look.
Mary Alice, in our research of the lowest rated bridges here in Western New York, we found a collection of them all concentrated in one area and all of them owned by the State Department of Transportation.
The Erie Canal. The state of New York has poured millions into reviving it as a tourist destination for boaters, dog walkers, cyclists, everyone, and planned for this summer a big bicentennial celebration of the state canal system. Not part of the celebration is the deteriorating bridges crossing the Erie Canal in Orleans and Niagara counties. 2 on Your Side has found the largest concentration of the worst bridges in Western New York are here.
It's a big issue as far as the daily lives of our community members here.
Ed Morgan is the highway superintendent in the Orleans County town of Murray, home to 2 of the very worst bridges around.
It's very hard to get across the canal with the deterioration of some of these single-lane elevated bridges.
This is the Bennett's Corners Road Bridge. Now, bridges are inspected every 2 years, and like school kids, bridges get graded on a scale of 0 to 100. It's called a sufficiency rating.
That's a number that the federal government develops and uses. And it provides a way to rank the bridges.
And the lower the score, the more attention it would need, generally speaking.
Right.
The Bennett's Corners Road Bridge got a score of 0. When we went to have a look, we noticed a hole under one of the cement columns supporting the bridge. How big? Big.
Wow, I can reach in that far. To my elbow.
We also found steel I-beams supporting the deck that were caked with rust. Some of the I-beams were rusted so badly there were holes in them. The deterioration prompting a drop in the bridge's weight limit to just 4 tons, functionally closing it.
For emergency vehicles, for school buses, for agricultural transportation, for farm equipment.
That day we also saw a local school bus forced to turn around to avoid using the bridge. It is also costing the town money. No longer able to drive its big snowplows across the bridge in winter, the Murray Highway Department was forced to buy a lighter mini plow truck.
And it costs us about $20,000 to $25,000 a year to maintain this truck, to man it, and to have us another plow route specifically for the canal bridges.
And it gets worse. Down the canal is the Hinsburg Road Bridge. It's closed and has been for years. Someone tagged it Zombie Bridge, and they may be right. The most recent inspection classifies the deck and superstructure of the bridge in imminent failure condition. It's missing pieces, and occasionally pieces fall off of it.
Part of the structure is continuing to rust and drop pieces of rusted steel into the canal, possibly onto boats as they go underneath them, or the walk path that they've put millions of dollars in to maintain a nice walk path for bikers and walkers and, to create tourism in the county, which is a big issue.
It's much the same story all along the Erie Canal. The historic waterway is dotted with bridges that are crumbling or closed and the property of the State Department of Transportation. More on the agency's non-participation in this story a little later. Now,
certainly the age of the Erie Canal bridges is a factor in their condition. This one in Royalton, built in 1914. But if bridges have an enemy, it's less likely to be time, more likely to be salt.
It is the enemy of bridges. Bridges are generally made out of steel and concrete, and salt and steel don't get along very well.
And because we use so much of it to keep roads safe in winter, it contributes to the deterioration of bridges. The fix? Give the bridge a bath.
You might be able to send a crew out there, wash the bridge down, get all the salt off, but if you do it regularly enough, keep it clean, it'll last.
And bridge washing is a thing the DOT does. This picture is from a DOT PowerPoint on bridge maintenance. So, is the agency taking care of its canal bridges? For answers, we turn to State Senator Robert Ort.
Talking to folks at the DOT from almost day one, the understanding was these bridges, it had been decades in some cases since any real money had been put into these bridges.
Ort's district includes much of the western portion of the Erie Canal.
I think rural communities sometimes get left out when these discussions about infrastructure are going on.
Ort may have a point. The city of Buffalo also has one of western New York's worst bridges. The South Bailey Avenue Bridge crossing the Buffalo River It's in terrible shape.
This is a vital link between the city of Buffalo, South Buffalo, the South Buffalo Business District.
And last year, the state and federal government ponied up almost all of the $20 million needed to replace the structure. What is the DOT currently budgeted for repair, replacement, or removal of these crumbling Erie Canal bridges? $10 million.
I think we're going to need certainly more than 10 million.
Do you have any kind of estimate as to what it's going to need?
I've tried to get that from the DOT, and I haven't been successful in getting an estimate.
Now, sadly, we're in the same boat as the state senator. No one from the DOT was available to talk about its shoddy canal bridges or what it plans to do about them. Over the last few weeks, there were 11 emails and over a dozen phone calls requesting information or interviews. Only today did we hear from the agency. It insists it has a plan, but we haven't seen it. And there is an indication that the DOT has no money, or at least no money committed, to take care of any of these repairs, not just now, but going into the future.
Wow, now you said the ones along the Erie Canal are the worst, but that means there's got to be others too.
There's lots more. On our website, WGRZ.com, you will find a listing of the 49 worst bridges rated by their sufficiency rating. This is a federal rating. And you'll be able to take a look and find out whether or not there is one close to you. They're in every county in western New York, surprisingly, except one that would be Wyoming County that didn't have a bridge that made the list.
So sad along our canal that, again, we're trying to promote and get people to, come and enjoy it. And we have dangerous bridges.
And celebrating the bicentennial this year, and it's being adorned by bridges that are in bad shape.
Right. Quite an investigation. Great work. Thanks, Steve. Scott?
All right, Mary Alice, and let's check in with Kevin O'Connell now. Beautiful day in western New York, but I just looked over